Big developments in the television industry as Openview HD, a free-to-view, direct-to-home satellite offering, is launched. Quick-talking ad man Gareth Kay from one of the big New York agencies shares his thoughts on life and love of the industry. We'll explore the concept of sunshine journalism and is it casting a big shadow over the media? And we look at the impending launch of a new women's business magazine. Welcome and thank you for joining us. ETV is to launch 15 new free-to-air channels which will be made available through sister company Platco Digital. The man heading up this initiative is Maxwell Nonge, and he starts the show for us.
We are operating in a free-to-air space. If you look in the South African TV market, we've got 12 million homes, and then of which about 4 million of them are pay TV, and then we are operating on the free-to-air catering for the 8 million. You go to your nearest retailer where you can buy electronics, you buy a decoder, and you go home, you get you call a number where an installer comes and install it, and then you activate it, and that's it. You enjoy, multi-channel for free forever, some of them in HD. We expect it to cost around 1,599. However, we urge consumers to shop around for different pricing, because we believe that retailers will offer different prices. Because it's once-off payment, yes. You never have to pay again. Mm-hmm. You're receiving 15 channels as a minimum, you're getting high definition that you will never have to pay again. Mm-hmm. So we believe that the value is there in our product. We're going to have the decoders installed, I believe, from the second week of October. Our official launch is mid-October, which is the 15th of October. But a week before that, the retailers, some of the retailers will have the product in the market.
Well, let's move on to advertising now. As part of the launch of the new Clorets campaign, 1 for fresh, 2 for super fresh, the brand decided to do something good instead of spending a fortune on a big launch. So it focused its attention on a single street in Alex here in Johannesburg and began a major cleanup operation. It's a smart link to a fresh idea. Let's go behind the scenes.
To celebrate the launch of their new two-piece packaging and super fresh campaign, SA's most trusted fresh breath expert, Clorets, decided to bring fresh breath confidence to Alex Township by SupaFreshing a street using the skills found on it and junk collected from it. The idea was a breath of fresh air for Alex and for the brand, taking a busy and charismatic street with an informal square that was being used as a garbage dump. Clorets dealt with the odor by removing the junk and unblocked the drains, and then gave local talent free rein to SupaFresh the whole street.
Well, SupaFresh the street campaign forms part of a wider campaign that we're doing. Clorets is launching a new two-piece range and is in a new packaging format, in a box format, and a brand new flavour called Fresh Mint. Clorets is the fresh breath expert, and part of that campaign was to SupaFresh our consumers.
Going door to door along one street in Alex over 2 weeks, Clorets found the skills and ideas that were needed in the community. From master builders to muralists, crafters, gardeners and welders, a team with great spirit and fantastic skills assembled to give Selborne Road a super fresh makeover. All of the building materials, from old tires, river sand, bricks and cement, were sourced locally. With a delivery truck that had to be push-started after each delivery, the project had a real Alex Gussie flavor. For a brand that focuses on instilling confidence in the man in the street, what better way to get a community to feel more confident than to show them the kinds of fresh ideas and skills that lie within their community? Clorets, the endorser of fresh breath confidence, supports fresh thinking, personal confidence and individuals with vision. We are proud to have unleashed potential in a community in such a powerful and inspiring way.
Well, from advertising to media now, and it seems the SABC's acting chief operating officer, Maxwell Nonge, started it when he spoke about a 70% quota on good news. Then President Zuma said local reporting was in many cases so negative it made him want to leave the country. He says he wants more positive news. So what exactly is this term sunshine journalism, and why should news consumers be concerned? In Pretoria, we find Pippa Green, Professor of Journalism at the University of Pretoria. She served on the board of the SABC and also in a senior editorial position there. Pippa, a very warm welcome to you. First of all, what is your understanding of this notion of sunshine journalism?
Basically, you cover up news that is important. But that said, let me say that I don't think that the distinction between positive and negative news is a helpful one, particularly when it comes to the public broadcaster, which is basically enjoined by law to provide, I think that the term is significant public affairs journalism of a high standard, which is unbiased and in the public interest. I'm paraphrasing from the Act, but that is certainly the spirit. So it really, you have to actually cover what happens.
Having said that, though, does the president maybe have a point, whether it be the public broadcaster or the commercial media? Is there too much negative and cynical reporting? Are we doing too much of it? Has the balance switched the other way, perhaps?
Let me say, I had a look at the newspapers, two of the Sunday newspapers, the main ones, this past week, and totted up negative and positive stories. And there were a number of positive stories. But I do think that sometimes we miss things under our noses. So, for instance, the Pretoria News, they'd run a very powerful story a few days ago that you might remember, called about the House of Horrors. These three really unfortunate people locked up in a house in Attridgeville by their families. So it was important to do a follow-on. But on their doorstep, somebody from the CSIR has just announced this, kind of scientific breakthrough in laser technology of international significance. It's right here in Pretoria. I was surprised that story didn't make the front page. And I actually spoke to the Pretoria News editor this morning, and she said, a lot of it is about capacity. Newsrooms are not very well staffed. They don't have a lot of reporters to send to places.
Pippa, when President Zuma raised the issue, he was speaking to a group of students in Parliament. He was given a fair revving by some of the students. How are you engaging with this issue with the people that you're teaching?
Our students do a newspaper in Mamelodi, which they do once a year, and they go into the township with all sorts of trepidations because the only thing they've read about Mamelodi is sort of crime and violence, and they're afraid of being hijacked. And they come across like a lot of positive stories. Positive is often positive about the community and ordinary South Africans.
If the SABC pushes this 70% happy news quota, what's the bigger consequence here for news consumers?
I actually think it's impossible to run a public broadcast news service and to do that. I mean, for instance, if you report what happens in Parliament, it's what happens in Parliament. It's not necessarily good or bad. Yeah. And SABC Radio does that pretty well, better than a lot of the commercial stations. But if you have loads of ministers talking, sure, as a public broadcaster, you've got to convey policy. But if you don't report on what happens in the Marikana Commission, what happens in the strikes, what happens in public protectors' investigations into Nkandla, you are actually not doing your job as laid out in the law.
Pippa Green from the University of Pretoria, thank you very much indeed. Now, coming up on the programme, we'll give you a global view of advertising, the view of Gareth Kay. He's the chief strategist at the Goodby Silverstein Agency in New York. Also, your views on all our stories on Facebook on this address are always most welcome.
News that moves. eNCA.com.